we are next. You guys get a double dose of me, and Ignacio has joined us with C Clear. So I will go ahead and share my screen again.
Good morning or good afternoon, depending where you're calling from. We will try to make up some time here, but we do have a really nice video, actually a couple really short ones that we'd like to share with you. So next slide. So this is a case where our presentation is about how tribes have used brownfields resources for reusing sites. And when I say reuse, it's for different uses. We have the video what we're going to give you a teaser of. We have examples of 4 tribes, 2 from region 10, 1 from region 9, and 1 from region 2, who've used brownfield resources for both for to restore their land to their natural state, and some of them are actually in urban areas, and some are kind of in the suburbs. So we have 3 different situations here where EPA resources were used to restore lands. And again, when we say brownfield, the operative word is the site may be contaminated. And as everyone has really addressed the last couple of sessions, is that a lot of these sites are potentially contaminated from past reuses, whether it's on the site or if it's down gradient from, if it's on a stream, if there was a flood, their sediments, they are all potentially contaminated. So you can use EPA funds to assess, inventory, and address these sites. So next slide. And so there are many brownfields misconceptions. Some people think it has to be contaminated, it has to be a Superfund site, it has to be on some list. That is not the case. It can be any of these types of sites. And I'm okay. There you go. So it's if you want to reuse it and you have doubts as to whether it's clean to reuse, look for your brownfields resources. And there are a couple of brownfields resources we'd like to bring up now. The AGSA process might be a third, and we're trying to figure out how that all fits in. But can you please click through, Joy? So first, I'll talk about the what we call multi-purpose assessment and revolving loan funds and cleanup grants, which can be used at different phases of your project. And the EPA Brownfields program, there is a lot of money coming. It will be announced in September, but you have to plan early. And this might overlap with your ANCSA activities as well. So, for instance, Region 10 tribes have been severely underrepresented in these grants, and both CClear and THC and Kansas State University are there to help figure out for you what the appropriate assistance we can provide so that you can form these grants. And the last 2-3 years, we have been reaching out to the regional corporations, to different tribes. It has been a very heavy lift, and I hope you can all spread the word because we do want as many of you to look into this and apply if you're eligible, and make partnerships. So next slide. So this is the movie that we presented, and just click through, Joy, where we get a very quick, 1-minute clip of what the different tribes that have used, the 4 tribes that used the brownfields resources. And so we have a tribe from Arizona, and they're right in the middle of Phoenix, but they did use this to help with actually identify archaeological resources. We have the Grand Ronde from Oregon, and they have a multi-purpose grant where they're reusing a paper mill and restoring the uses on the river. We have Confederated Tribes of the Sayas. I don't want to butcher the name, but we call them, for short, the City Clusi. And we have the St. Regis Mohawk tribe in New York. And they, again, are all in various situations. And so I invite you to watch it. The link is on the slide and also in the Brownfields photos. So next slide, Joy. And again, this is a snapshot of the grants that are coming up. These are orders of magnitude bigger than what the EPA used to provide. Applications will start in September, and the guidelines really are they're still formulating them. So this is still kind of a work in progress, but please look out for them and reach out to us, your partners, the DEC, your other environmental state agencies. And the other potential resource is the 128 program, which Joy alluded to. Again, you can help inventory. There are 22 TRPs in Alaska, and there are a dozen more in the other, more than a dozen more in the other Region 10 states. Next slide, Joy. And it can be used for a variety of purposes. Again, they kind of overlap in the activities, but this is more of a capacity building grant rather than a site-specific grant. Next slide, Joy. You can just kind of cycle through, and the slides will be available. It provides a lot of resources, and I guess the invitation just came out, and there will be another invitation coming out soon. So please look out for that. And again, reach out to Joy or myself, and we'll help get you started.
Great, thanks, Ignacio. Well, hello again. I'm back to share information and an example in Alaska of how Brownfields resources can be used in projects that promote culture and healing. Ignacio spoke about the kind of resources available through the EPA and the BIL for Brownfields. The example I will show you pulls on some of these resources and several others. The site of focus today in this presentation is a 15-acre parcel of land located in the heart of downtown Anchorage on Dena'ina land. This site sits on a bluff up the coast of the Turnagain Arm with spectacular views. It is now owned by the municipality of Anchorage's Heritage Land Bank. In the past, it was Anchorage's first, you see here on the top left, my top left, it's the first water storage facility in Anchorage. It then became a ski jump. Imagining jumping off that ski and seeing those views of the inlet. Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine jumping off something like that though. But then in the early 50s, the Alaska Native Service, then part of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, opens a 400-bed hospital with a specific tuberculosis wing. The statewide death rate for Alaska Natives was 653 per 100,000 cases at the time. But this was the main hub for a hospital for Alaska Natives serving the entire state. And it was, as you can imagine, a lot of beautiful memories like bearing a child or having a child, and sad memories were made there. I just wanted to put this picture up of the old hospital managed by the EBIA and now the new hospital managed by Alaska Natives, who are clients at the hospital and owners having a say in their own care. How far we've come. And it is also a very beautiful facility. So back to my short history lesson. In the 1964 earthquake rattled Anchorage, leaving the hospital unusable. As you can see from this picture, the hospital was built sturdy enough, but the site was located on fault lines that really make only 5 of the 15 acres buildable on now. After the 64 quake, the site was torn down and rebuilt in a location that I showed you previously, which doesn't have as beautiful views, but at least there's no fault lines in that location. Several partnerships were formed by business owners and residences of that area, affectionately named the Third Avenue Radicals, to do something about this bare, blighted site. That's when I became involved, thinking that this could be a potential brownfield site. To move the idea of creating a usable community space, the Alaska Food Policy Council hosted 8 raised beds on the site to promote their vision of a healthy, nourished, food-secure Alaska. At that time, we did not yet apply for the targeted brownfields assessment, and the level and extent of contamination on this site were still unknown. But the Food Policy Council ensured the beds would be lined and that the produce that they created from these beds was delivered to community partners like the Native Elders program at ANTHC. So the whole point was that there is this site, it was sitting there, it was empty for years. And the Alaska Food Policy Council saw it as an opportunity to get the community interested in their vision and in produce, and why not use that site? So we started moving forward with trying to reuse that site with some EPA assistance. The targeted brownfields assessment was created, was done and completed, and did not find any major contamination on the site, which is great news. The CDFA, technical assistance to brownfields, also assisted in creating a report called a roadmap to redevelopment, focusing on tax increment financing for the site. So they really assisted the municipality of Anchorage on that. And then we did a local foods, local places grant program that helps cities and towns across the country protect the environment and human health by engaging with local partners to reinvest in existing neighborhoods as they develop local food systems. This enabled hosting a 2-day community-wide conceptual development of the site. And I just kind of put down here in the corner some of the partners. We have a lot of partners on this project, and it is beautiful how we all move together and really support this project. But that 2-day concept meeting with local foods, local places ensured that the community members who were interested, it was open to the public, were invited to really discuss how to honor the land. So we had members from the Eklutna tribe there as well, to get a tribal perspective. And, you know, usually not to their faults, but cities redevelop to make money. We wanted the site to be one of multi-use where the city could check that box and income generation, but that a collaborative vision to redevelop the land with living Alaska Native heritage space, indigenous plant gardens, urban farming, commercial, residential, public spaces, all of that was reached. And in this vision, almost 1/3 of the property was dedicated to honor and respect the role that that old Alaska Native hospital played in many Alaska Native people's history. So many Alaska Native and American Indian people were born, cared for, and passed away at that old site. So as you can see, hopefully, I know rather small in this concept, we have all of those visions addressed. And there's a central feature in this Alaska Native Memorial Park that will have a figure. We haven't yet decided what would go in there, but it's not for us to decide, it's for the community. This project will provide an increased capacity for renewable energy as well as and insights into food security in northern climates, and be a productive use for that site. Other goals of the project include opportunities for early stage innovation, a facilitation of homes and homeless communities working side by side in productive endeavors and utilization by social service organizations. We have a lot of big dreams for this site, as you can see. But before anything could happen on the site, our partner and our RTOC representative here today, Mita DeWitt, ensured that the land was honored with a blessing. So just real quick, shout out to Mita. She put together an amazing committee, and well, we all know Mita is simply amazing. This flyer was created to cleanse and bless the land with a ceremony to honor and respect the many Alaska Native and American Indian people who were born, cared for, and passed away. So this was sent out to partners. It wasn't sent to everyone. And these are pictures of what happened at the site. You see one of our Heritage Land Bank representatives getting saged right here. We had beautiful dancers and entertainers. And at the bottom right is a link by Talking Circle Media. They captured the event, which was the only media outlet there to do so. And it's an almost 2-hour recording that can be viewed. But I distilled the recording as best as I could and as respectfully as I could to show you today in the next slide. So please enjoy.
And when I think about the Alaska Native Medical Center site, it was built after I was born. But when I was an adult, I started going there, and I didn't know anything about raising children. And every time I panicked about something, I'd run down there, and they would teach me a few things so I wouldn't panic or whatever. And then we did have health issues, and many people suffered here. But the thing that stands out in my mind is when you would come here, it didn't matter. The doctors did their business, and then none of us were on time for appointments, not even the doctors. But the hallways would be filled with people, and we'd run into our friends from high school, and we'd run into people we haven't seen from all over Alaska, or we'd sit with the complete strangers, and they would, in those days I didn't know how to talk to people, and I'm still learning, but they would sit and talk with me and make me feel like family. The healing was the people, and that's, to me, why us being here, the people, is the most important part, because it's our community and our connection that creates the healing. And so I welcome you to our traditional lands.
In our native way, we know that spirit and ancestors are helping out, right, when things come together. So one of the things that our planning group said that we needed as well was to make sure that water was represented. And I wasn't able to get it prepared and ready for today, and she brought the water. So, goodness, sheesh. We need 4 youth to volunteer for something. All right, they're on it, Mama Bear. So, she's going to give them instructions. She's going to pour a little bit of the holy water into 4 cups. They're going to take it to the 4 directions of the area that we're in, and they're going to say a prayer, and they're going to lay it down, and that's part of the cleansing of the space. So I'm going to be quiet for a moment while she tells them what to do.
Special day because this place is so sacred, is so holy, and that you take care of this place, this land, as well as the humans who live here. So thank you, Heavenly Father. Thank you for the leadership who thought of doing this, to not forget where this place is. So many of us have come here for many reasons. You know them all. So we thank you and we ask blessing.
This was to come up with something that was symbolic, but also that deteriorated on purpose. So in our traditional ways, when we have a'u of those who passed, it would over time disintegrate, and we put it to rest. And by the time that the a'u disintegrated, the people who grieved for that past loved one had passed themselves. So it was intentional to let go of the past. And so our group came up with something that's very meaningful, and I'm going to ask Melissa, would you please explain it to us?
Chinan Mida, so Willie Jan and Sarota, Melissa Shagnos Setalan, Yidishias Koikara Etlan, Itiniana Kayak. My name is Melissa Shaganoff. I'm Caribou and Fish Eater Clan from Ninth Diniana, or Chickaloon Village. So this idea was really kind of something we wanted to represent, all Indigenous people here in Alaska, which is that we are great stewards of this place, and that we are always looking to the future of how it is everything's used. And I think that the idea was that we wanted a healing sort of ceremony that was allowing us to sort of let go of things. There was a lot of things that happened in this place that were painful to people, but also a lot of beautiful things. And so we're trying to figure out a way to heal from those things, and then also imagine what a future can be in this space. And so the idea was that we would be able to sort of imbue some thoughts and hold on to something and leave it here. So this beautiful fish rack was constructed by Mida and Mida's family, and Gabe. So the idea is we're going to take some seed paper that has some nettle string on it, and we're going to hold on to that paper, and we're going to think about those things, think about what we need to heal from, and think about what the future can be here. And we're going to put it onto the fish rack and leave it here. And yeah, so that's the idea. Yeah, and the seed paper is all North American flowers. Yeah, and so I just really want to thank Mida for putting that together. You know, I think that it's going to be a beautiful sort of ceremony for us. So, Chinan.
Dish. So on the fire dish, we have food for our ancestors. We have smoked ooligan, we have herring eggs, we have smoked salmon, we have dried caribou, we have coffee and tea. Our elders got to have that, right? We have blueberries and service berries and high bush cranberries, and we also have chocolate. And so we're going to put that into the fire to go up for our ancestors and to feed the spirits that may be still here who need some love, right? And to help them transition. And for all those that we love, we want to send them some goodness. So, Gabriel, would you please put the fire dish into the fire? This will be his first one. So while he's doing that, we'll go ahead and have a song from these young people over here.
Right. Just watching even that 7 minutes brings me back to that time and how special that ceremony was and still is for many of us there. What you didn't see in that video was the over 200 people that attended, and the tears and the happiness and the hugs that were given, and how people stayed and lingered after to write their thoughts and their hopes on the paper and to partner and talk. It's amazing. So what I wanted to share just really quickly here at the end is on that site, the last segment of, and as we're continuing to really lean on the EPA for their assistance in how to really bring a brownfield site out of blight and negative thinking into something beautiful, is that I really wanted an idea to utilize art and to create a beautiful space that inspires and reminds community members of what the site is going to become while it's going through this long process that is the Brownfields process, a part of other processes of getting permits and buildings and so forth. So while that's happening, the project of creating a mural to sit on that site is funded by the EPA through the ANTHC Brownfields program. And we selected through RFP an Alaska Native artist named Will Kozloff. And this is an example of some of his work. This will not be the mural that will be on the site, but he's using ideas and the spirit and the history of the site to really lean towards what he will develop for that mural. And I'm so excited about the unveiling of this beautiful mural in this summer of 2022. So if any of you are visiting Anchorage and you want to drive by the 3rd Avenue site and see this vast 15 acres and imagine what it can become by staring at this beautiful mural, we really invite you to do so. Or if you're interested in having a similar art project in your community, please let me know and we can talk about how to get that started. So again, really quickly, we just want to touch on navigating partners in this time of thinking about how to really utilize Brownfields resources to a community project. Lean on your TRPs, your IGAPs, one another, your corporations, and with us helping, we really could think that a success can happen. So please feel free to ask any questions to me or Mita. And I think that is it. Thank you, Ignacio. And really, our goal is to assist you along the way, especially with the BIL opportunities heading our way. So again, here's our information, and I will stop share with that.
Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.